Want to learn how to make really delicious chicken breast that's marinated in balsamic dressing? Well, today I'm going to share with you how to make a super simple chicken breast dinner with chicken marinated in balsamic. Now, it's one of the easiest hacks when it comes to making flavorful chicken because adding balsamic dressing to chicken is, adding all the herbs, the vinegars, the oils, it does it all at once. So it's really a quick way to marinate chicken and make it super juicy and both tasty at the same time. So I'm gonna take you in the kitchen today and share with you how to make a super delicious and simple chicken breast marinated in balsamic dressing. Let's do it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sit Back Go channel on YouTube for all my delicious latest recipes coming your way. I make a ton of restaurant style food at home and I have so many wonderful chicken recipes that you're gonna love. So let's get right into the steps on how to marinate chicken breast in balsamic dressing. Thanks again to Annie's for partnering with me on the sponsored post to bring you this marinated chicken in balsamic. So to a large bowl, you add the chicken breast and the balsamic dressing. And first we like to trim off the fat from the chicken. And we're using 2 chicken breasts here and we're cutting them in half to make 4 different chicken breasts. So these are very large portions still, but cutting those in half means that they're going to cook a little bit faster on the stove and finish in the oven. So to a large bowl, you add the chicken breast and balsamic dressing, and you want to completely coat the chicken with the dressing. You want to make sure that you're mixing it in so when it goes into the fridge to chill out and marinate for an hour, it is completely soaked in all of those delicious herbs, spices, and vinegar and oil that's in Annie's balsamic dressing. So anyways, you cover the bowl with plastic wrap after you've completely coated the chicken breast with marinade, and you store the mixture in the refrigerator for an hour. You could also store it overnight, and that's a really great way to infuse more flavor. But if you do at least an hour in the refrigerator while you let the chicken marinate, it's going to taste so good later. It's going to make it super juicy. So when it's time to cook, you preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and heat a large oven-safe saute pan to medium-high on the stove. Then you add olive oil to the pan and you sear the sides of the chicken for about 3 minutes each. Now, you need to stand back because as you can see, the oil is going a little bit crazy here, but I definitely like to use a higher heat when I'm sauteing chicken. But marinated chicken, because it has all that extra moisture from the marinade, is going to splatter a little bit. So be careful there, but you'll be fine. Just, use precaution. So once the oil is hot and shiny, you added the chicken breast, and then you can season with some more salt and pepper. But marinating chicken breast in dressing, like a balsamic, already has a lot of salt and pepper in it. So usually you don't have to do too much seasoning to marinated chicken. So you sear each side of the chicken for about 3 minutes until each side is golden brown on the outside. And then you move the chicken to the oven, and now you're going to do this thing where you're baking marinated chicken for about 3 minutes on each side. So we do that to keep the dressing, not burning on the outside because it might with the heat. But you don't have to do that if you're not afraid of the dressing burning. You can kind of do this recipe a couple times and see how it works best for you. So when the chicken's in the oven, it's baking thoroughly, and you want to make sure that it gets up to a temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I love to use a thermometer that has a string that connects to a little box outside of the oven. It means that it's going to go off and start beeping when the oven is completely done. Look how beautifully golden brown this marinated chicken is on the outside from that balsamic dressing. So once all of that's done, you can serve it immediately, or you could add some cheese to the top and stick it back in the broiler to let that cheese melt. These are ready for sandwiches, or you could use this marinated chicken for salads. You could really do anything. I love to meal prep with marinated chicken. This can really feed us for a couple nights. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sit Bite Go channel on YouTube for more delicious restaurant-style meals you can make at home. Well, I hope that I've inspired you to make your own easy chicken breast at home. I have so many videos on how to make delicious flavored chicken breasts. It is really never possible to have a boring chicken dish for dinner when you have so many different ideas for marinades and other ways to keep it interesting. So I hope that you subscribe to Sit By Go channel on YouTube so you get all my latest restaurant style food that you can make at home. Well, until next time, hope you have a wonderful and delicious day. Cheers! You're going to want to try this. Look at this delicious looking everything bagel seasoning focaccia dough. It is so incredibly delicious and I can't wait for you to try it. You can find the recipe for focaccia with everything bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's at sipbygo.com and on the Sip by Go channel on YouTube. It is the perfect bread to put your breakfast sandwich on in the morning or a chicken sandwich on for lunch. Well, until next time, I hope you have a wonderful and delicious day. Cheers! Here are some more delicious recipes that I think you'd love to check out.